Hello and welcome to another edition of Foreign Dispatches, the program that takes you around the world in 25 minutes. I'm Amarachi Ubani. On the program this week, mixed reactions and uncertainty follow the announcement of a US-Iran agreement. Plus, G7 leaders agree to strengthen Ukraine's air defenses and tighten sanctions on Russia. The announcement of an agreement between the United States and Iran drew cautious reactions across regions earlier this week. Many Iranians questioned whether it will last, while some Israelis said they were uneasy that the deal was reached without Israel's involvement.
In Tehran, the mood is cautious. Residents say they welcome any pause in the fighting, but many question whether the United States can be trusted and whether the agreement will prevent another confrontation.
You certainly cannot trust America completely. If its interests lie in war, it might attack again.
I don't think it's about trust anymore. It is a 60-day understanding, and they are supposed to sit down and discuss it.
Others say even a temporary agreement would offer relief after months of uncertainty and disruption.
Even if it is only for a short time, reaching an agreement would satisfy me so that we can have some comfort.
US President Donald Trump says the agreement would prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon and permanently reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
It's a very important document, and Iran wants to get it done. They have to get back to business, and the relationship is now normalized. So I think it's going to go pretty quickly, Steve. Could go faster. Could take longer, too, but it could go faster. Could be that Iran will turn out to be successful when they have oil. But if we left a week ago, just left, before the last two attacks, it would have taken them 20 years to rebuild Iran. So, but I'll go over the document with the media in a couple of days.
Reports also point to sanctions relief, an end to the U.S. naval blockade, and further negotiations on Iran's nuclear program.
Good things are happening. The ships are starting to move now. We're going to have it fully open by Friday. The ships are starting to move nicely. Oil is starting to go, and the prices are coming down rapidly. Stock market is going up rapidly. A lot of good things are happening, and most importantly, Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. That was how I got involved in this. We can't let that happen. So they will not have a nuclear weapon. But now, in addition to that, the strait is going to be open toll-free. And it's toll-free beyond the 60 days. It's not, somebody said, oh, it's toll-free for... No. It's toll-free, period. When it opens permanently, it'll be toll-free. I want to congratulate our Navy because the naval blockade was unbelievable.
In Tel Aviv, opinions are divided. Some residents fear the agreement gives Iran time and resources to rebuild, while others say any deal that stops civilians from being harmed should be welcomed.
The deal is very bad. He gave everything, the money, the uranium, the time to create new bombs. It's not a good deal for Israel.
And we think that they hate Israel and the Israeli people, and they're gonna hit them again and again and again until Israel didn't exist anymore. So for us, it's like we are not protected, and we can't live like normal people. We have afraid every day, every time, every night for our kids, for our family, and for our people.
I think it's good and bad. I think it's bad because the regime in Iran will probably continue their actions. I think the deal is not good for the United States, and it's too similar to the JCPOA in 2015. But I think it is good that civilians are not being hurt now in Israel and that there's no hostilities between the countries. And I think all around it's good when there's no war. But time will tell. We'll see if it will actually result in a more peaceful Iran, and an Iran that doesn't fund proxy terror groups all over the Middle East and try to harm Jewish communities in Europe and North America, and Israel. So we'll see.
We need a peace. We, Israel and Iran, all of us, all the people, I think all of us need this peace. All of us want quiet, want good life. We don't want war.
Israel says it is not a party to the agreement and has continued strikes against what it calls Hezbollah targets in Lebanon.
We finally brought the war to an end.
UN officials have welcomed the possible breakthrough, but warn that urgent action is still needed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz fully and restore humanitarian and commercial shipping.
I welcome the announcement that the United States and Iran have agreed on a peace deal that provides for an immediate and permanent ceasefire, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, and a framework for further negotiations. The conflict has had a devastating impact on human rights across the region and around the world. The last months have shown that the deep differences in the region cannot be resolved by military means.
The priority must be an end to all armed attacks, a commitment to protect civilians and their infrastructure, and strenuous efforts to move forward from the current ceasefire to a comprehensive and sustainable peace agreement. It is essential that all those involved in the blockade of maritime traffic restore the free flow of goods and energy supplies through the Strait of Hormuz immediately to prevent a global energy and food security catastrophe.
However, the most difficult issues, the future of Iran's enriched uranium, the level of enrichment allowed, verification, sanctions relief, Hormuz and Lebanon, remain to be discussed in the talks.
Meanwhile, the announcement also raised hopes of an end to the fighting in Lebanon. Displaced families began returning to southern towns and villages on Monday, despite warnings that many areas remain unsafe and the terms of the agreement are still unclear.
Cars, buses, and small trucks packed with belongings are heading south again. After more than 3 months of conflict, displaced Lebanese families are returning to towns and villages across Tyre, Bint Jbeil, and Nabatia, hoping the latest diplomatic agreement will finally bring an end to the fighting.
We came back temporarily just to see our village and smell its scent. We worked hard to carry on despite the difficult situation.
But many are returning to widespread destruction. Damaged homes, markets, and vehicles can be seen across southern communities, with rubble covering roads and entire buildings reduced to ruins.
Our only longing is to return and embrace the soil of our towns. Without land, there is no dignity.
The Lebanese army has urged residents to delay returning to border areas and to follow military instructions because of the continued risk of Israeli attacks and unexploded ordnance. The warning came as some families encountered Israeli military vehicles still positioned in parts of the south.
I have a message for you, the people of Lebanon.
Last week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued a video address to the people of Lebanon, urging them to join Israel in its fight against Hezbollah.
Israel is not at war with you. We're at war with Hezbollah, that has taken your country hostage, that does Iran's bidding, that uses your territory to launch terrorist attacks against Israel. Do you remember what Lebanon was like before Iran and Hezbollah turned it into a nightmare? Remember the cafes, remember the culture, remember the calm. All that's gone because Hezbollah and Iran want to drag us into war over and over and over again. You deserve better. Your children deserve better. You know by now that Israel will do whatever it takes to protect our families, our communities. Hezbollah is weaker than ever. Israel is stronger than ever. We've taken out nearly 10,000 Hezbollah terrorists so far. We're systematically clearing out South Lebanon of these fanatics. No matter where they are, we'll find them. You also know we yearn for peace with you, with Lebanon, a peace where our two peoples can invest together, build together, thrive together. The only impediment, the only obstacle to this beautiful vision is Hezbollah.
Exhausted after more than 3 months of conflict, the people of Lebanon hoped the truce would also stop the fighting here between Israel and the Iranian-backed armed group Hezbollah. But it's uncertain how the US-Iran deal applies to Lebanon. Iran and Pakistan, which helped mediate the talks, say it includes a permanent halt to military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon. Israel says it is not a party to the deal and has warned that its forces will not withdraw from territory captured in southern Lebanon. Despite the uncertainty, residents leaving shelters in Sidon said they could no longer wait.
We are returning with our heads held high. My son's homes were destroyed, and so was my daughter's home, but we are returning.
The United Nations says around 1.4 million people have been displaced in Lebanon, including thousands of pregnant women.
There are now 1.4 million displaced people in Lebanon, which is well over 20% of the population. In terms of percentage of population displaced, it's among the highest in the world because it's a small country. The displacement orders have also continued. Even though there was a ceasefire that was announced on the 17th of April that's still in place, hostilities have not ended. And we still get displacement orders every single day for different parts of Lebanon that people have to leave in a hurry. You've got women and girls who make up more than half of the displaced population living in extremely vulnerable situations, on the streets, in their cars, in overcrowded shelters, in places that deepen their vulnerability and expose them to gender-based violence.
For families heading south, the journey home is filled with relief, defiance, and uncertainty. The fighting may have eased, but with the agreement still unclear and Israeli forces remaining on the ground, a safe and lasting return is far from guaranteed.
Over in Gaza, families in eastern Gaza City are fleeing again after residents reported that Israeli forces had moved the so-called Yellow Line closer to their homes. Renewed displacement comes as communities struggle with severe water shortages and the destruction of traditional livelihoods.
Once again, families in eastern Gaza City are packing what remains of their belongings and leaving their homes. Vehicles loaded with furniture were seen leaving the neighborhoods, while others fled on foot.
The Israeli army entered our area tonight and changed the location of the Yellow Line. They move it forward a little every few days, advancing further towards us each time. Tonight was one of the worst nights that we have ever experienced. We're tired of displacement. Every day brings a new wave of it.
There is no transportation, food or water near the Yellow Line. No one is providing aid and people continue to face repeated displacement.
Local officials say dozens of families were forced to leave after military vehicles moved hundreds of meters closer to residential areas. For those already displaced, finding somewhere else to go is only part of the struggle. Across Gaza, a severe water shortage is worsening under intense heat. Men, women and children wait in long queues around water lorries, carrying bottles and jerry cans in the hope of securing enough for drinking, cooking and washing.
We are suffering terribly. We never used to have to run around looking for water, but now we stand in the streets waiting for the water lorries to arrive so we can rush towards them. This is no life. I have lost 4 family members and I tell myself it doesn't matter. I will live with what I have, but please provide us with water, electricity, and a dignified life, a clean life.
Residents say deliveries arrive only every few days and remain far below what displaced communities need. The crisis has been worsened by widespread damage to water infrastructure and the suspension of maintenance and repair work. It also coincides with a severe rise in temperatures in the Gaza Strip, where temperatures during heat waves typically range from around 30 to 35 degrees Celsius and may exceed this on some days, exacerbating conditions inside the displacement camps.
Thanks for staying with us. G7 leaders meeting in France have pledged to strengthen Ukraine's air defenses and increase pressure on Russia's war economy, including through tougher sanctions on its oil and gas sectors. The announcement follows a large-scale Russian missile and drone attack that killed civilians and damaged homes and infrastructure.
The 11th century Dormition Cathedral, part of Kiev's historic Pechersk-Lavra monastery complex, was badly damaged during a large-scale overnight Russian missile and drone attack. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described the damage as one of Russia's most serious crimes against Christian culture. Russia denied striking the cathedral, claiming the damage was caused by a missile fired from Ukraine's US-made Patriot air defense system. The monastery complex is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Ukraine's most significant spiritual and cultural landmarks.
This historic church and monastery, often referred to as the Lavra, was hit by 2 drones overnight. I am here with colleagues from UNESCO who have just told me that at first sight it looks like the damage is extensive. Now, this is a World Heritage Site. And according to international conventions and protocols, heritage sites are protected. And member states who have signed up to these conventions, including the Russian Federation, have the responsibility not to damage these kinds of sites. So doing so, violating the convention, could amount to a war crime.
The strikes also hit homes, schools, and other civilian sites across Kyiv, leaving 4 people dead, at least 23 injured, and around 140,000 households without power. In Kharkiv, rescue workers were killed in a second strike while responding to an earlier attack. President Zelensky says Russia launched about 70 missiles and more than 600 drones, triggering air raid warnings across most of Ukraine. The attacks came as world leaders gathered in France for the G7 summit, where the war in Ukraine and further international support for Kyiv was high on the agenda. The UN says civilian casualties have risen sharply, with May recording the highest monthly toll since April 2022. Humanitarian teams have been deployed to Kyiv and Kharkiv to provide emergency repairs and psychological support to affected residents.
In South Africa, thousands of foreign nationals are seeking shelter or preparing to leave as an unofficial deadline set by anti-migrant groups approaches. President Cyril Ramaphosa has warned that immigration concerns must be handled through law and not vigilantism.
In Durban, thousands of foreign nationals, many of them Malawians, have gathered at temporary shelter sites after fleeing threats, attacks, and forced evictions. Families arrived carrying bags, mattresses, and the few belongings they could save.
The situation is becoming increasingly concerning, particularly for Black African migrants. Many people are uncertain about their safety, security, and future.
Anti-migrant movements have organized demonstrations across parts of the country, accusing foreign nationals of taking jobs, contributing to crime, and placing pressure on public services.
They commit everything that is wrong. That is why now the youth stand up with a second phase of struggle. These people must go home. There's no other way. Those who've got illegal papers, they witness with us in TV, Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, and etc. We always see the clips. So it's not about we chase them. Those who said that, they are misinformed. We didn't chase them. We put clearly that the law must take its own place. The constitution must be respected.
South Africa's unemployment rate stands at more than 32%, with young people among those most affected. But campaigners and rights groups warn that economic hardship is being used to scapegoat vulnerable migrants. In Johannesburg's Hillbrow district, private security personnel and immigration officials have carried out door-to-door checks, inspecting documents and detaining some residents. The government says it does not recognize the June 30th ultimatum and has warned private groups not to enforce immigration laws themselves.
The issue has been on the table of the president. We hear law enforcement must handle this matter. To the young people, don't let them use you. Don't let them tell you on the 30th you must remove illegal foreigners. You will go to jail and they will not bail you out. They will be nowhere. The cops are the only people that must remove illegal foreigners.
South Africa is home to more than 3 million foreign nationals, many from neighboring countries including Malawi, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe. Governments have already begun repatriating their citizens, while thousands more remain in temporary shelters awaiting transport or assistance. The latest tensions have revived memories of previous outbreaks of xenophobic violence, including the 2008 unrest in which more than 60 people were killed and thousands displaced.
And finally, in India, World Cup fever is inspiring large-scale works of art. Students in Kerala have created a giant portrait of Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Neymar using more than 100,000 discarded bottle caps, while a sand artist in Odisha has created his own tribute to the tournament.
More than 100,000 bottle caps, 3 football legends, and 1 giant work of art. At Nirmala College in Kerala, students and artists Ajay Vafai John have created a 1,000 square foot mosaic featuring Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Neymar Jr. The colourful portrait was assembled from discarded bottle caps collected from local shops and scrap dealers before being cleaned, sorted and painted.
So, till the World Cup ends, we will be exhibiting this artwork in our Nirmala College. After that, we are planning to exhibit in different regions of India, so that our message, our waste to wonder message, let's explore or let's spread all over the India.
The project took 6 months to complete. Students mapped the digital design onto a grid, with each bottle cap acting as an individual pixel. Around 200 students helped attach the caps to 242 separate boards.
We cleaned and sorted the caps, keeping only the good ones. Around 200 students helped us attach them to the boards, and it took 3 days to complete.
The artwork was originally planned as a tribute to what organizers believed could be the players' final World Cup appearances, but it also carries an environmental message: reduce, reuse, and recycle. In the eastern state of Odisha, football fever is also being expressed through art. On Puri Beach, sand artist Manas Kumar Sahu created an elaborate animation featuring the World Cup trophy, players, supporters, and the official match ball.
The FIFA World Cup fever is sweeping across the globe. I'm thrilled to create this sand art, which showcases both the crowd and players. As a sand artist, I want to share this art with people so they can enjoy both the artistry and the matches.
Sahu completed the creation in less than 20 minutes, marking the start of the tournament jointly hosted by Mexico, Canada, and the United States. From discarded bottle caps in Kerala to shifting sand in Odisha, the two projects show how football's biggest tournament is inspiring creativity far beyond the host nations.
And that's the program today. Remember, you can catch all our top stories and more on channelstv.com. Thank you for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Bye for now.